following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Hello, and welcome to the Box Score Breakdown Show, presented by Hoop Ball. My name is Adrian Benjamins, and I'm joined by Neil Rochelani. And this episode of the Box Score Breakdown Show is brought to you by Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee Company. You guys taste the Kona difference and get yourself some coffee. Go to hawaiianisles.com. You can also go to Amazon, get some delicious coffee. Neil, how are you doing, man?
Hey, Happy New Year, Mr. Benjamins.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, 2019. I'm going to stop saying I can't believe it because it's just kind of stupid at this point. I can believe it. Every year goes by faster and faster, but it's kind of a weird feeling to go into a new year. You know, it's just kind of strange.
I think next year is going to be the one, 2020, right? I think that's going to be the one where I'm going to have a hard time with. Like, as a kid, that seemed like so far away, where we're going to have flying cars and spaceships and we're going to be living on different planets and stuff like that. So to actually be here for 2020 is going to be absolutely crazy. That one's going to be nuts.
Yeah,
I think
they're all nuts to me. But yeah, I think you're right. That one's especially nuts. We'll see who's on top of the list in terms of fantasy at that point. We have many potential candidates. So what's going on? Do you want to get right into the news and notes? Do you have any news and notes? I know we haven't really prepped for this, so I haven't really looked.
I don't really have a lot of news and notes. You know, I read an interesting rumor that the Dallas Mavericks were interested in Otto Porter. Did you hear about this?
I did not. I heard they were interested in getting rid of Dennis Smith Jr. I did not hear about their interest in Otto Porter.
Yeah, and you know, with John Wall out for the season, with the Wizards, I think, I don't know what place they're in, but I know they've had a rough start to the season. A lot of people think that they're probably going to just blow it up, maybe sell some pieces like Otto Porter or Bradley Beal, and just kind of, start rebuilding. And so it'd be really interesting to see if maybe Otto Porter lands on a team like the Dallas Mavericks. It feels like he'd be a pretty good fit next to Doncic and DeAndre Jordan and some of the other guys that they have. I love Otto Porter, two-way player, plays good defense, can shoot outside. So, I imagine a lot of teams would be going after a guy like that. I don't know. What do you think about the possibility of him moving?
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens there in Washington. Thought they might blow it up even before this news about John Wall being season-ending injury, and then we'll see what happens. I'm also nervous about Bradley Beal. Like, conventional wisdom is he's going to go nuts the rest of the season since he doesn't have Wall and he needs to score more. But I don't know. Like, maybe they shut him down early. Maybe he takes more games off since they're not trying to win. I'm a little nervous about him. I have him in 2 leagues, and I'm cautiously optimistic, but I think it could be a downturn as well for him. We'll see. Do you have any thoughts on Wizards players? I guess besides that, it might impact. I guess
I've read a lot of people that think Thomas Bryant is a guy that needs to be added. That, you know, if the Wizards do go into like a rebuilding mode, let's say they start tanking to get a high draft pick to draft a guy like Zion or RJ Barrett or something. A lot of people think it could be good to go after some of the young pieces. Wizards have another guy, Troy Brown, a forward, really talented forward who they drafted, another guy to maybe keep an eye on. So it's definitely a situation that I think that's worth watching. If they do indeed go into tank mode, if they hand playing time over to the youngsters, guys like Thomas Bryant, Troy Brown could see some value. What do you think about it?
Yeah, exactly. I think Ariza's stock is definitely up. I think he's going to play hard the rest of the season. And then I think Markieff might be okay too. He seems like a guy who, like, once he's out there, he likes to really contribute, not someone who just likes to take plays off. So those two guys I think will be solid the rest of the year. But still speculation. We'll see what happens with Washington. Maybe they'll be just fine without Wall. We know they won before without him, so it might be okay.
Yeah, hey, I'm glad that you mentioned just speculation right now. It really sounds like everything is just rumor, nothing's concrete here. So let's not do anything drastic. Listeners, don't it's just a situation to keep an eye on, I think.
Yeah, the other news I got is Chris Paul is out, uncertain about his return. So is that something you're seeing as well? Like it may be longer than we expected. Could be out for a while.
I expected him to miss some time. I think what was his original timetable? Like 2 weeks, I think they originally said.
I think it was 2 to 4 weeks. And
Okay.
yeah, I'm showing mid January is what the news I've got. But I guess that could still fall in line with what he said today.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned Chris Paul, because another guy that kind of came up in the news was Kyle Lowry. I guess I believe he received some injections for pain that he's having in his back. The team says there's no timetable for his return. I mean, what a blow. We're seeing all these point guards, Neil, that went in like the first 2 rounds. John Wall, Chris Paul, Kyle Lowry. We're seeing all these guys go down. What a huge blow for their fantasy owners, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, these guys you took early, so it's hard to replace them. A couple other injury news I want to bring up because they're relevant to my teams. Jeremy Lamb got injured, hurt his hamstring. He's out for, it looks like, at least a week. Initially, it was 2 weeks. Looks like it's a week now. Cody Zeller broke his hand, another Charlotte Hornet who's out for a month or more. I tried to pick up Willie Hernangomez. I did not get him. He's one of these guys, kind of like the guy up in Cleveland. I'm spacing on him right now. Oh, Larry Nance. Like, I expect Willie Hernan to get right in there and just and dominate, but I don't know, even if that's the case. I mean, they may go with Bismack, and they may still play Willie like 15 to 18 minutes. Who knows? I think the chance is there, though, that Hernangomez will have a fantasy opportunity, and clearly he can do a lot in a few minutes. So he's one to pick up. I picked up Malik Monk just as a backup to Jeremy Lamb to start him for a few games. I think he could have a decent amount of impact. Do you have any thoughts on those guys or anything else in Charlotte?
Yeah, I actually picked up Willie Hernangomez in a few
Oh my God,
leagues.
yes. I tried to pick him up. Yeah, I saw that was you.
Yeah, and you know what, though? I will be honest with you, Neil. I don't feel great about it. I mean, on paper, it seems like Willie Hernangomez should be the next man up. We've seen him. He's got a pretty solid offensive game, but my big worry, his defense is not there. And I feel like that could keep him off the court because that team's not that great defensively in the front court. Marvin Williams isn't a great defender. So I am a little worried that Bismack Biyombo could steal some minutes there. So, I heard a lot of people on Twitter say, go get Hernangomez like right now. And I pulled the move in some leagues, but I am really on the fence about it. Like, I won't, I don't know. I'm just very skeptical to see if he actually comes through, but we'll see, man.
Yeah, I think the possibility's there, but I think if you think it's a no-brainer, you may need to think again because this is one guy who's been sitting more than we expected.
Yep.
All right. That's all the injury news I have in my source book. Anything else from you?
That's all I got. Should we jump into these games? I think it might be your turn.
I think it is my turn. I think it is. Start off the new year, baby. All right. So pulling up my box scores right now. Of course, things are a little slower when it's my turn. Start off with Detroit, Milwaukee. First game of the night. A blowout here. Milwaukee wins 121-98. I'll do the Pistons side. Blake Griffin, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. Nice night of shooting, 9 of 20 from the field, 7 of 7 from the free throw line, 4 3-pointers, a steal, and a block. Did have 6 turnovers. Andre Drummond, kind of a quiet night for him, 15, 7, and 1 on 6 of 12 shooting. Did manage to go 3 of 5 from the line, so not too bad there. 2 steals, no blocks, and a single turnover. Reggie Jackson putting up a nice scoring line here, 8 of 10 shooting, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 9 points, 3 assists, and not get a rebound or a defensive stat. 3 turnovers. Reggie Bullock played 27 minutes. Can't really do much here. 6 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 2 of 8 shooting, 2 3-pointers and a steal, 2 turnovers. Bruce Brown, 29 minutes starting, 0 of 7 from the field, 0 points. Did get 8 rebounds and 3 assists, but very disappointing line from him if you're trying to figure out a wing in Detroit to own. Off the bench, John Lure, 25 minutes, 6, 9, and 2, 3 of 5 shooting in the block. Kyrie, if I pronounce his name right, Thomas, 20 minutes, 13, 1, and 0 on 3 of 6 shooting, 5 of 7 from the line, and a steal. Kennard gets 20 minutes. Calderon, 16. Galloway, 10. Glenn Robinson, the third, 7. Yeah, not much to take away from here. It's good to see Drummond not have a horrendous night at the free throw line. Blake Griffin still delivering a strong season fantasy value. Did not expect this from him this year. I'm always someone who stays away from him. He is 58th overall in 9-cat leagues and much better in the 8-cat leagues because his turnovers are so high. Let's see what I got for him. I've got 26th on a per-game basis in 8-cat, so he's been doing top or third-round value. Any thoughts from you on Detroit?
I am a lot like you, Neil. I stay away from Blake Griffin on draft day. I feel like he's really injury prone. I'm really surprised that he's been healthy and he's been this good all season long. In 9-cat leagues, and I'm double checking that this is season average. In 9-cat leagues, he's player 55. So, that's okay. And I think he was drafted right around that range. So, but yeah, I'm with you, Neil. I usually stay away from him, but I have been pleasantly surprised with his play. The 4 threes tonight, and his assists. I didn't realize Detroit was going to use him as a facilitator, so pretty good. One other thing I want to mention is you talked about a little bit how all these wing players, we can't count on anyone. We just talked about a guy named Otto Porter who could be available in a trade. Makes a lot of sense for a team like Detroit to try to make a move for a guy like that, right? I mean, seems like a nice compliment next to Griffin and Drummond and Reggie Jackson, and a good two-way player. And the Pistons, I believe, are really going for it this season. So I'd love to see the Pistons try to make a move for a guy like him. All right, Neil, any closing thoughts before I move over to the Bucks?
Well, if they did get Otto Porter, there'd at least be a wing there we could trust. So that'd be nice.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Certainly help their team and make them more competitive in the East. Yeah, but other than that, go ahead and do the Bucks side.
The Bucks, man. I'm going to start with Brook Lopez. Brolo, 25 points, 2 blocks. He had 7 threes tonight, which is just outstanding to get from your center. 7 of 13 from the field. He also added 3 rebounds, 4 of 5 from the line. Great game from him. Bledsoe with 18 points, 6 assists, 4 rebounds, 7 of 14 from the field, 4 of 4 from the line. Chris Middleton's been really playing a lot better lately. 22 points with 2 assists, 5 rebounds. He added a 3, shot 3 of 4 from the line, 9 of 14 from the field. Giannis, somewhat of a ho-hum game from him. We're used to seeing those giant popcorn stat lines. And so, when you see 15 points, 7 assists, and 8 rebounds, it feels a little disappointing. But, man, filling it up with the defensive stats, 1 steal, 3 blocks, 6 of 11 from the field, 3 of 5 from the line. Brogdon, 13 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 3, 6 and 7 from the field. We just talked about on the Pistons side how there's like a couple guys you count on and you can't trust. This seems like the opposite. Like all of their starters you can like play for fantasy. It's so crazy how you see this team that only has like 2, maybe 3 guys you can count on for fantasy, and then you see a team that has got like 5 or 6 guys that you can count on for fantasy. Off the bench though, not too much. George Hill, man, we just seen him really. The move to Milwaukee did not do any. Did not help his fantasy value at all. Only 8 points, 4 assists, 3 rebounds for him. We just don't count on him. No one else really to count on this bench here. Neil, what do you think of the Bucks?
I think the one nice thing to see here tonight is it was a blowout. So yeah, some of these lines are a little bit low in terms of minutes and production, but Bledsoe having a nice game here. He's been struggling as of late, and we've been talking about him as a buy low opportunity. I actually considered trading him, but I'm glad he bounced back tonight. So for at least one night, he's looking pretty good. He's currently 47th in 8-cat leagues, and I expect him to be much closer to 30, 35 range. So we'll see if he can get back up there. And that's really it. Brogdon's been a nice surprise. Like you said, he's been phenomenal this year. All 5 of these starters you can count on. So I don't see why it'll slow down. This team is just one of the better teams in the East, and I think they can compete against almost any team in the league. So fun to watch them going forward. Not much else to say. Should we go on to game 2?
Yeah.
All right. I've got Utah, Toronto. Higher scoring fair than I expected here. 122-116. Toronto wins. Start off with the Utah side. Donovan Mitchell, 19 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists on 7 of 23 shooting. Did go perfect from the line, at least 3 of 3, 2 3-pointers and a steal. No turnovers, no blocks. Solid game from Ricky Rubio, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 8 assists on 6 of 17 shooting, 2 of 3 from the line and a block. Gobert, 16 points, 9 rebounds, 2 assists on 6 of 7 shooting. Shot well from the line, 4 or 5 from the free throw line, 2 steals, no blocks tonight. Joe Ingles, he is someone who has been disappointing me, man. 2 points in 34 minutes. He was 0 for 5 from the field, 6 rebounds and 6 assists. That's great. 2 steals are good. But all 5 of his shots are 3-pointers, and he missed all of them. Just not having a great season. Derek Favors, on the other hand, is having a pretty solid season. 27 minutes, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 8 of 12 shooting, 5 of 8 from the free throw line, and 2 blocks. Jay Crowder had a great night tonight off the bench. 27 minutes, 30 points on 9 of 15 shooting, including 5 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, no assists tonight, no steals, no blocks. Dante Exum, his minutes are creeping up a bit. 18 minutes tonight, 8, 3, and 3 on 4 of 11 shooting. I like this guy a lot. 1 block. Maybe he can get traded somewhere and kind of get some value going. Kyle Korver plays 18 minutes, Cephalosha 10, and Royce O'Neal. I knew I butchered that. 7 minutes off the bench. I'm really nervous about Ingles. He is just having a really down shooting year. I don't know what's going on with him. He seems like everything else is okay, but he started off so hot, and since then he's been in a huge slump. I thought he'd bounce back from now. I hate to sell low on a guy, but he still has that name recognition that people like, and maybe I'll do it. It's just been so disappointing. Other than that, though, everyone else here seems pretty good. Derek Favors has now climbed into 8-cat value. I just don't like his free throw percentage, but I think if you need rebounds and blocks, he's a pretty good pickup. Jay Crowder, I'm still staying away from despite tonight. It's very streaky, and tonight he was just on. So you have any thoughts on the Jazz?
I completely understand your concern with Joe Ingles. You know, really tough when you have him in your lineup and he has nights like tonight. But I'm still encouraged by the starting role, the 34 minutes. You look on his average on the season, and I'm not sure if it's including this game tonight, but he's currently sitting at a 6-round value at rank 62 for 9 category leagues season average. So, I think you just got to stick with him. I'm hoping he can turn things around. And, man, I get so excited when I see Crowder have a game like this. I was a big fan of Crowder when he was in Boston, putting up nice value. And I want to jump on a guy when he does this, but I just don't trust him still, man. Just tomorrow night he could get 18 minutes and I just don't trust Crowder. But it's still nice though to see him do this every once in a while. And I love your take on Dante Exum. Man, Neil, he actually moved in the starting lineup. I think he played next to Donovan Mitchell the other night, and I got really excited. I was like, man, I hope he has a big game because I wanted him to stick in that lineup. I think he just had a pretty average night. So And I'm not sure why he started, but man, I would love to see him get a starting role, as you said, or maybe even get moved or something like that, because he is a pretty talented guy. I feel like he could be a really nice fantasy player in the right setting on the right team. All right, I'm going to jump in on the Raptors side. If you don't have anything else to add. Okay, Toronto, going to start with Kawhi Leonard. Wowzers, 45 points from him. This is outstanding, man. Okay, so no steals or blocks, which is in 35 minutes, you definitely expect Kawhi to have some defensive stats. But nobody's going to complain, Neil, when they see 45 points, an assist, 6 boards, 13 of 17 from the line. That's like James Harden free throw line numbers right there. 16 of 22 from the field. He took 3 threes, but unfortunately didn't make any of them. Siakam, huge double-double here. 28 points to go along with 10 boards, 1 assist, 3 threes tonight. Shot a nice 9 of 15, a perfect 7 of 7 from the line. Just what a great surprise this guy's been for the season. Fred VanVleet, a guy I think who, with Lowry out that we mentioned earlier, I feel like this guy needs to be owned. But he does put up lines like this quite often, where it's kind of low scoring and kind of low end line, which we saw tonight with 8 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds, 1 3. 3 of 5 from the field, 1 of 2 from the line. Danny Green, I left this guy out. I left this guy on my bench, Neil, and I'm glad that I did not play him tonight, because put up a pretty ho-hum low-end line in 31 minutes, only had 2 points, a block, an assist, 4 rebounds, no threes, only shot 1 of 4 from the field. Serge Ibaka with a little bit of disappointing, actually very disappointing game here with 8 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 1 3. Only shot 3 of 10 in 30 minutes. Off the bench, they got a nice boost from Powell with 14 points. Monroe with 7 points, Wright with 8 points. But we're not really counting on them, any of their bench guys. Lowry's out. Valanciunas is out. Neil, what do you think of the Raptors, man?
Yeah, I'm worried about Lowry. Like you said, with that injury, looks like he had some injections over the weekend to try to help his back pain, and that makes me nervous that even if he does come back, he might injure himself again at some point this season. It's good to see Kawhi just dominating and Siakam stepping up and filling some of that void and scoring. I thought Danny Green would get a boost. Good for you to be able to time it right. Tonight was just really one of those nights that are very frustrating. He and Ingles tied in scoring. Let's see. I thought maybe someone like Van Fleet would pick it up a little bit more. It's kind of a quiet night from him. Not much else here on the Raptors side. It does look like Valanciunas is still out for a couple more weeks. So if he did get dropped in your league, maybe start to think about stashing him at some point. I think most people have held on to him, but it's possible he was dropped. He is not doing that great this year. 108 on a per game basis in 8 category league. So potentially he's out there and may want to grab him before someone else does. But that's all I got on Toronto. Should we go on to, I believe we've got a final in the, we got a couple finals, so we can hop on over. Sorry for blanking. I'll start with Denver, New York, unless you have anything else to add on Toronto, Utah.
Nope.
All right. New York falls 108-115. It was a revenge game for Emmanuel Mudiay. Comes back to town, plays 32 minutes, 15 points, 3 rebounds, 9 assists. Led the team in shooting, 7 of 20 from the field tonight, 1 of 2 3-point land, 0 of 2 from the free throw line, a steal and a block, had 4 turnovers. Pretty much what he did in Denver when he was there. So they're probably not missing him too much, although it's nice to see him having a second chance here in New York. Go with Kevin Knox next. He's starting to play very well. 18 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 7 of 16 from the field, so not too bad. 2 of 3 from the line, 2 3-pointers, a steal, no blocks, no turnovers, no Vonleh. 5 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists on 2 of 8 shooting, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, and a block. Luke Kornet, someone I picked up recently, and I was debating whether or not to start him tonight. I threw him in there because he was going against Denver. Played 27 minutes, 19 points, 6 rebounds, 1 assist on 6 of 9 shooting. 3 of 3 from the line, 4 3-pointers and a block. So glad I started him tonight. Tim Hardaway Jr. played 38 minutes, 16, 2 and 2 on 7 of 12 shooting, 101 from the free throw line, a 3-pointer, no defensive stats, 3 turnovers. Off the bench, Cantor, who we know is very disgruntled out there, but playing very hard still. 20 minutes off the bench, went for 17 and 12. Such an amazing line in such a limited time. 2 assists, 6 of 11 shooting, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. This guy's like a microwave when he gets out there. Trier, 19 minutes. Ntilikina got 18. Damian Dotson, 13. We'll see what happens with Cantor. It looks like he doesn't want to be shut down. That's what he's claiming is happening there. Hasn't demanded a trade or anything, as far as I know, but certainly unhappy there. If that changes, I guess that could open it up. Looks like Mitchell Robinson could be coming back soon. Expect to be back within the week. See how that affects Cantor and also, of course, Kornet, who I think should be added until he gets bumped from the starting lineup. Any thoughts from you on the Knicks?
Yeah, I agree with your take on Kornet. I think you got to pick this guy up if he's still floating. Got picked up in most of my leagues. I was able to grab him in a couple leagues. And as you mentioned, the one hurdle for Kornet looks like it could be Mitchell Robinson. I mean, Kornet, it looks like he stole the starting gig away from Cantor, which sounds kind of ridiculous. Cantor's been playing pretty good all season. Definitely did not deserve to lose the starting role, but man, they just want to see what they got with the youngsters, and so they're going with Vonleh and Knox and Moutier, and so I think Kornet definitely playable, and let's see what happens when Mitchell Robinson gets back. I think Kornet can still have some value and maybe be worth playing and starting even when Mitchell Robinson comes back. They're probably going to bring Mitchell Robinson slowly. We don't even know if Mitchell Robinson will start at any time. So let's see what happens here, Neil. All right. What do you think about it, man?
I was going to say it could be a 3-way share as well when he comes back. So none of these guys, I mean, Cantor, I think, will still retain value because he doesn't need many minutes. But the other two guys could become valueless. We'll see. Yeah, definitely keep an eye on it. Yep.
Okay. Gonna jump in on the Nuggets. Gonna start with, Jokic. What an amazing triple-double here. 19 points with 15 assists and 14 rebounds to go along with some nice defensive stats. 3 blocks, a steal, a 3, 2 of 3 from the line, 8 of 16. He did some of everything tonight. What an outstanding game from him. What a fantastic fantasy player. Jamal Murray, man, this guy has had some big letdown games. He also blows up every now and then, but I've seen quite a few lines like tonight where he only he shot 4 of 12 from the field tonight, didn't even hit a 3. This was pretty disappointing from him. He only got 8 points, a steal, a block, 5 assists, 3 rebounds. Craig in the start got 13 points, an assist, 4 rebounds, 2 threes. He shot 5 of 10. Plumlee didn't do too much in 24 minutes in the start, had 8 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 7 rebounds. Hernan Gomez with 8 points. He only got 20 minutes though. Beasley off the bench. Now he was the one, even though he came off the bench, got the 30 minutes, got the starters minutes, and put up a nice line. 23 points, 5 assists with 6 rebounds. Not too much else to talk about. Millsap is still coming off the bench. He actually looked really good tonight in limited minutes. Put up 16 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 9 rebounds. 4 of 10 from the line wasn't too great. 6 of 13 from the field. And 0 of 4 from downtown. Let's hope that he gets into the starting lineup again soon. Harris is back, man. Gary Harris, but still just kind of seeing limited minutes off the bench. They're probably just working him back slowly, letting him kind of get up to speed. 6 points from him in 20 minutes. Lyles had 9 points in 10 minutes. Neil, what do you think of the Denver Nuggets?
Yeah, other guys are coming back from injuries, like you said, Millsap and Harris coming off the bench tonight, but I think they'll be back in the starting lineup sooner than later. And then also Will Barton is expected back pretty soon as well. If he's out there in your waiver wire, pick him up if you think he's going to be an asset, which I think he will. So this starting lineup might shake up a lot over the next couple of games. I think Hernan Gomez, he really hasn't been worth an ad anyway, but probably will fade pretty quickly along with Craig. Beasley, Monte Morris was someone I was streaming, and I think now has lost his value. So I think we're back to the starting five in Denver pretty soon, and the rest of the guys will probably just fade away. But my second love, Nikola Jokic. Oh, my God. How great was he tonight? Adrian, when you own a player like this and you just love staring at the stats flip, this guy makes everything happen. It's fantastic. Anyway, I'll move on as you're just like, what are you talking about?
No way, man. I know. Hey, dude, this is why we play fantasy basketball, Neil, for guys like Jokic, man. I mean, what an outstanding game from him, and what a fun player to have on your team, man. Just a great player, and I love seeing lines like this, man. It's just outstanding.
Yeah, it is. All right, the fifth game, and I think the last one for Mr. Benjamin's. Unless he can hang on, which I don't know. Do you have any Kona Isle coffee? Maybe you can get to stick around for another hour. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's start with Portland, Sacramento, 113-108. Portland gets a nice win here in overtime against a very frisky Kings team. And speaking of great lines, Nurkic, he is having a monster year. I totally did not see this coming from him. 24 points, 23 rebounds, 7 assists on 5 of 10 shooting, 14 of 16 from the line. That is the most impressive line from him. He's a 74% shooter. This was fantastic. 5 steals, 5 blocks. It's a Nurk alert. It's like a code red Nurk alert. This is amazing.
Yes. Actually, this is a rare 5x5 line. He's over. Neil, in daily, he put up 88 fantasy points tonight in daily fantasy.
I know, phenomenal. And I know centers go well against the Kings, and I was afraid to start them though. And DFS. I'm still learning, Adrian. Okay, second guy I'm gonna go with is Damian Lillard, 25 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists on 8 of 21 from the field, 8 of 8 from the free throw line. Nicely done there. A 3-pointer, a steal, 5 turnovers. CJ McCollum still not really having a McCollum type season. 16 points in 39 minutes on 8 of 19 shooting, including 0 of 2 from the free throw line. Very frustrating there. Had a rebound, 2 assists, and a block. So a very empty night for him besides some decent scoring. Aminu, he had a start-worthy performance. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists on 4 of 9 shooting, 3 3-pointers, 2 of 2 from the line, and 2 blocks. Mo Harkless, 11-9 on 5 of 10 shooting, a 3-pointer, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. So, yes, that's also pretty decent low-end value for him tonight. Off the bench, Seth Curry gets 22 minutes, goes for 18, 1-1 on 6 of 9 shooting, 4 3-pointers, and 3 steals. That's really it. Myers Leonard plays 15 minutes, Zach Collins 15, Turner 14, and Stauskas 9. Harkless and Aminu, the 2 guys I'm still watching there. They haven't really gotten there yet. Aminu sort of has, but I think there are better options out there. And Harkless is still working his way, I think, into fantasy value form. Other than that, Nurkic has been phenomenal this year. I can't stop saying enough about this guy. He's really improved his free throw shooting, which is so impressive when guys can improve a skill like that. And with that, I'll pass it over to you. What are your thoughts?
Man, I'm speechless with this Nurkic line, man. This is just what an outstanding fantasy game he had, and as you said, having a great year. And man, I'm speechless. I don't even know what to say over here, Neil. I'm gonna jump in over on the Kings side. Gonna start with Buddy Hield, 27 points, 4 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 5 threes tonight, 11 to 23 from the field. Pretty good game from him. De'Aaron Fox, who's been having a really good season. This one's kind of feels like a letdown game. Only shot 6 to 19 for 13 points, 2 steals, 2 assists, 2 rebounds. This one, maybe he had his hands full in this one with Damian Lillard. So we'll give him a pass for tonight. Nemanja Bjelica, man, this guy has been filling in very nicely for Marvin Bagley. Nice double-double here. Actually played 36 minutes and fouled out with 6 fouls, but still was able to put up 14 points, 16 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 3, 5 of 7 from the line, 4 of 12 from the field. Willie Cauley-Stein, man, I feel like after the really nice start he's had, he's really kind of fallen off a little bit. And 2 of 14, man, you hate to see that kind of shooting from your center. You really count on your centers to provide nice field goal percent because they're closer to the basket. So whenever you see your center shoot 2 of 14, that is not good. 5 points, a steal, 3 assists. Didn't have any blocks either, which is not great. 3 assists with 11 rebounds. Shumpert got the start, but he just put up a pretty underwhelming line at 9 points. 3 steals, a block, 3 assists, 1 3, 4 of 11 shooting. Bogdanovic, this is a nice game from him off the bench. He's been providing some pretty good value, comes off the bench, but still seeing starter minutes, getting great usage. In fact, took 19 shots, made 7 of them for 19 points, 3 steals, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. He shot 3 of 11 from downtown, 2 of 2 from the line. Off the bench, not too much to talk about. We're still waiting for Marvin Bagley to get back. Neil, what do you think of the Kings?
Yeah, this is a really good basketball team. Or I shouldn't say that. It's a very competitive basketball team. Good to see him out there night after night, compared him against the best teams in the West. Bielitsa still streamable. Had a great night tonight. As long as Bagley is still out. Off the bench, Bogdanovic is climbing up just outside the top 100. He'll get there without any problem. Cauley-Stein, yeah, despite, tonight is just an aberration. He is shooting 53% on the year. So tonight is just one of those nights, I guess, where the Nurk alert went nuts and slowed him down. But not much else from the Kings. Shumpert, I don't think is worth owning. They've got a lot of depth off the bench, but none of them are really standing out besides Bogdanovic. And kind of a quiet night from Fox. I think he'll bounce back sooner than later. He's already in the top 40 in ACAT leagues. That's just a phenomenal growth on year over year. And that's really it. Now I can say, do you have any Kona coffee? Because we're at halftime of the Clippers-Sixers game, but I have a feeling you're going to abandon me here.
I have to get out of here, unfortunately, Neil, but I will be back tomorrow. I think we have a big, giant slate going. Neil, is there a DFS contest?
Oh, yes, there's a
tomorrow?
DFS contest. If you are interested in playing DFS, we do it through DraftKings. It's a $3 entry fee. It's just a hoop ball league. Pool top 10 will get $30. And first gets a t-shirt, second gets coffee. And the link will be sent out, I think, through Dan Besbris's Twitter account. I'm going to try to retweet it, though, and I'm sure. And if you follow Hoop Ball Fantasy, you'll see it as well.
And Neil is going for a back-to-back victory here. So I'm rooting for you, Neil. I'm going to try to jump in. As you mentioned, a lot of the hoop ball guys are in there, which makes it fun. Come beat up on us. Aaron Brewski's in there. Micah Patria's in there. A bunch of guys. I think Josh Millman is in there. Dan Besbris, Aaron Brewski, if I didn't already say him. I'm going to try to jump in there. Neil's going for the repeat. So get in there. Try to beat us up in there. It's a lot of fun. And one last thing, too. Don't forget to get the in-season premium membership. So much good stuff over there. It's ridiculous. Go and get that. We're still got a full half of the season left here. So we still got a lot of fantasy hoops. And I think that's it, Neil. I got to get out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Hit me up on Twitter. I'm at Adrian Benjamins. He's at Ball with Neil. Neil will be back for the last game, the Sixers and the Clippers. I will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.
All right, on to the last game of the evening. 76ers go into Los Angeles and win 119-113. Buoyed by another just phenomenal performance, I should say, by Mr. Joel Embiid. 9 of 19 from the field, 8 of 12 from the free throw line, 28 points, 19 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 3 blocks. Did have 5 turnovers, but he is proving why he is first round asset in ACAT leagues, currently number 9 overall. Solid night as well from his other two guys. We'll start with Jimmy Butler, 16 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block on 5 of 13 shooting. 3-pointer, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. Ben Simmons with 14, 9, and 8. Steal and a block, 4 turnovers. 6 of 13 from the field. Did struggle from the line, though. 2 of 6 from the free throw line. J.J. Redick, 18 points, 2 assists. Not much else tonight. The 4 3-pointers as part of that 18 points. 4 from the line. No rebounds. No steals, no blocks. 2 turnovers. Wilson Chandler plays 27 minutes. Not doing much in that starter's role. 3 of 6 from the field. 7 points on 1 of 1 from the 3-point land. No free throws. 4 rebounds. 2 assists, a steal, and a turnover on the bench. Mike Muscala got 13 minutes. Shamet, 13 minutes. Bolden, 15 minutes. Korkmaz, 12. The one guy I want to talk about, though, is TJ McConnell. He played 28 minutes tonight. Went 4 for 6 from the field. 3 of 4 from the line. No 3-pointers. 11 points, 4 steals, 3 assists, 2 rebounds, and a block. 3 turnovers. He is probably the only one here who may be available in your leagues among the Philly players who are not all-star potential or J.J. Redick. On the season, McConnell's 178. Over the last month, he is 103. Some of that is beneficial from injuries, but averaging 25 minutes over the last month. He's shooting really well. 58% from the field, so I don't expect that to continue. That has been one of his main positive contributors to his player rater value. So don't rush out and get him. I think if there's an injury and he'll get more minutes when there's not an injury. Don't think he's worth it despite having a decent game tonight. That's about it for the 76ers on the Clippers side. A lot less staggering fantasy lines tonight. Tobias Harris had 21 points on 7 of 15 shooting, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, a 3-pointer, 6 rebounds, 3 steals, no blocks, no assists. Danilo Gallinari, 21 points on 7 of 15 shooting, just the same there. 2 3-pointers for him, 7 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, 2 turnovers, no blocks. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, future star in this league. I'm trying to make him a fantasy star this year. It's not working. He has struggled as of late. 20 minutes tonight. Had some foul trouble. 5 personal fouls. Scored 8 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 2 rebounds, 2 turnovers, 4-7 shooting. Not a terrible line, but not someone you want your starting lineup just yet. Avery Bradley, 6 points, 1 assist. Nothing else going on for him tonight. 3 of 7 shooting. Marcin Gortat gets the start at center. 22 minutes, 6 points, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 assists, no blocks, 2 turnovers. Off the bench, they're led by 2 guys named Montrezl Harrell. 21 minutes, 20 points, 10 rebounds, 2 assists. Actually, one guy named Montrezl Harrell. The second guy is named Patrick Beverly. It's not named Patrick Beverly. It is named Lou Williams. Pardon me. And he is doing what we expected him to do this year. 22 points on 8 of 19 shooting. The free throws were off tonight, 5 of 9. That is an aberration. 3-pointers, just 1 of 8 tonight. So not a bad night shooting, but struggle from the line. Did get 4 rebounds and 3 assists and 3 steals. So he is coming back into form. This team is looking pretty solid, losing to a very good Sixers team coming off a bad loss. So expected a good performance by them tonight. Also off the bench, the aforementioned Patrick Beverly. He had 33 minutes, but with that, just took 3 shots. Went 1 of 3 from the field, 2 of 4 from the free throw line, made a 3-pointer, 3 rebounds, an assist, and fouled out in those 33 minutes. He is not worth owning. Lou Williams is. Harrell, of course, is. Bradley and Gilgeous-Alexander not there, although I really like Gilgeous's game. I just hasn't translated to fantasy yet. He'll get there in the coming years, maybe not in the coming months, unfortunately. I want it to happen. Gortat as well has not gotten the minutes this year, so it's just Gallinari and Harris. Those guys are consistently producing. Gallinari, great to see him staying healthy all season long to date. I will knock on wood. And that is going to do it for the Box Score Breakdown, first episode of 2019. Hope everyone is having a good start to the year. We'll be back for shows on Wednesday and Thursday night, and then head into our typical weekend and then new week lineup. And once again, mention our sponsors, Hawaiian Isles Kona Coffee. You can find their products at hawaiianisles.com and also on amazon.com. And that's about it. If you want to follow me on Twitter, I am at ballwithneil, BALLWITHNEIL. And talk to you tomorrow.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.